You talk as though Obama is the foreign secretary for Britain. You know that you're quoting Obama everywhere. That Obama is doing that and Obama is doing this. My question is that what you are doing in Afghanistan first, because Afghanistan is probably in my memory time. I'm an Afghan and living in Glasgow for the past 9 years. It's the worst time. And what you are doing to Pakistan just now, because in my lifetime, Pakistan never had suicide bombing until you guys went to Afghanistan and then, you know, financed some of other people and, you know, destabilized Pakistan. And can you quote me one positive example, what you guys have achieved in the south of Afghanistan? You can tell me many, but I've been there and I have seen a lot of things. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lee Webster. I just want to say I don't think the public actually understand what we're doing in Afghanistan at the moment. We're sending 6,000 more troops. We're destroying lives. We're wasting resources. It's just too great a loss. And worst of all, I think we seem to be following America's example far too much instead of taking our own stance and being a good moral leader to the rest of the world, which we have the potential to do. Thank you.
Let me just go through some of these points. First of all, we have our own foreign policy. We decide our own foreign policy as the British government. And where we agree with the United States, fine, they're a world superpower, they've got more ability to have more influence around the world than any other country in the world. It's important that that's influence for the good. If we set our own foreign policy, we should judge ourselves on that basis. Just think about it. The question is there suicide bombing in Pakistan because of the British presence in Afghanistan? But Pakistan's probable Prime Minister, Benazir Bhutto, was assassinated in December 2007. No one believes that she was assassinated because there are British troops in Afghanistan. The tragedy of Pakistan is that internal terrorism is not a British problem or an American problem, it's a Pakistani problem. It's in the words of the President of Pakistan, not my words, a cancer at the heart of Pakistani society. It is a cancer that is born of a number of factors. And it's quite important to separate them. Pakistan is a country which for 31 of the last 60 years has been under military rule. In the federally administered tribal agencies, the literacy rate among girls is among women is less than 3%. The unresolved conflicts within Pakistani society are a hotbed of danger. And when I went to meet a group of Pakistani young people elected to the Pakistani Youth Parliament, 120 people from across Pakistan, they left me in no doubt about their opposition to what they believed America and Britain were doing in Afghanistan. I'll come to the Afghanistan question in a moment. But in respect of Pakistan, what they said was this is a country that hasn't built strong political, economic, social and cultural institutions. And I believe that is the central challenge for Pakistan. And until Pakistan is able to build those strong political institutions, including an independent judiciary, but also including a middle class that's able to build up its own businesses, it's not going to be able to marginalise those who are committed to violence. Now, I wish it was as simple. If there weren't foreign troops in Afghanistan, there'd be no violence in Pakistan. I wish it was that simple. But honestly, the argument goes the other way around, that actually Afghanistan has historically provided quote-unquote strategic depth for Pakistan. And the historic argument has been Pakistan needs to be ready for wars with India. That's been the historic argument. Now actually, it would be a disaster for India and for Pakistan to get back into conflict with each other. Because actually the danger for Pakistan doesn't come from India, the danger for Pakistan comes from terrorism that has struck down its own political leadership. Now in respect of the Afghanistan situation, the reason we're there is very, very simple. Afghanistan was the incubator for international terrorism throughout the 1990s. And there is an interesting argument let's be honest about this, about what happened under the Soviet rule of Afghanistan. Because it's true that the training and the funding of the Mujahideen, through a number of mutations, has created some of the people who are today leading the Taliban. It's important to be honest about that. It's important to be honest about that. But that does not invalidate the fact that Afghanistan was the incubator for international terrorism in the 1990s. And it is the incubator of choice for Al-Qaeda today. And there is a history. You know, there are Pashtuns on the Afghan side, and there are Pashtuns on the Pakistani side of the border. There are people who go over for weddings from one side of the border to the other. It's a contested border. Two-thirds of Pakistan's borders are contested 61 years after its independence. But if there wasn't international support for Afghanistan's first democratically elected government, I absolutely assure you that Afghanistan would again be the incubator of international terrorism. And when you say, I've been to you're from Afghanistan, so I'm not going to claim I know Afghanistan better than you, but I have been to Afghanistan 4 times in the last 18 months, including down to the south. Sorry?
Maybe 1 hour or 2 hours.
No, longer than that, but I don't, look, you're from Afghanistan, so I'm not going to pretend I'm more of an expert on Afghanistan than you, but I don't know if everyone else in the room has been to Afghanistan. And so I've spent, I don't know, 10 or 20 days in Afghanistan in the last 18 months. And in the south of Afghanistan, the writ of the Kabul government has never run in the south of Afghanistan. Never run. There's never been a governing presence in the south of Afghanistan. And when people in Geresh, where I was 3 months ago, tell me that only thanks to international support is there a police and Afghan army presence that keeps local security, that allows traders to open. When I meet doctors who say they're opening a primary care centre thanks to the security that's being provided by the international forces, I say that is some answer as to what we are doing. And our aim is not to create a new colony in Afghanistan. We want to make sure that Afghanistan, as soon as possible, is able to run its own affairs. But I absolutely promise you, if we weren't there, there would be Taliban rule back in Afghanistan. Girls would not be allowed to go to school. And some of the gains, precious and fragile gains that have been made, would be rolled back. Does that mean it is not a very, very dangerous and difficult situation? No, it doesn't. But I honestly say to you that the motivation why we're there is to sustain the basis of democratic, non-Al-Qaeda linked government in Afghanistan. But we do so conscious that unless you have stability in Afghanistan, you will not have stability in Pakistan, and vice versa. And that's why we're there.
Thank you.